Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teacheth the Bible in 100% truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today I'm looking at the evolution of false religion. The word religion going back to the word, the meaning of the word worship. A religion is a worship. And in the previous video, I, took you through the evolution of sorcery and witchcraft. Now, both of those things go back to idolatry, but so does idolizing, for example, sports stars and music idols. So, rather than refer to it as false idolatry, in the previous video, like I say, I went into witchcraft and sorcery, looking at the things that were happening in medieval Europe, the Dark Ages, and we were able to link it back to customs and traditions all the way back from the ancient Egyptian Empire and many other empires in between. And then from there I was able to explain how that type of sorcery and witchcraft has evolved into the modern day use of sorcery and witchcraft. And it's the same thing with religion, which again, based around idolizing some sort of spiritual deity, some sort of false idol worship. Sometimes in history, kings have made themselves the connection between the people and the so-called Most High, whichever name of Most High that they come in. So, you have an evolution process of it, and it's not always about just remembering facts and figures and details. Yes, the more you can remember, the better. But I don't really, I don't arrive with a set of notes and tell you, well, in this age, this happened, and this, the bottom line is to understand the formula. A formula is what gets you through the situation. So the formula of how to track down and navigate through these religions and track them back to their origins is the way that you're going to be able to show people what they're really about. You trace a religion back to its origin, day one of Christianity, or day one of Islam, or day one of this or that or whatever else, and then you go to the day before that religion was established. So what happened then? Who was the Most High the day before? And so this is the process we can take you through. Now, you don't have to remember all the facts and figures, you just have to remember certain key elements, and that then helps you navigate your way back through the particular process. Now, those elements that you have to remember come through the scriptures, the true understanding of the Bible. There are many people out here around the world and catch themselves teaching or preaching or trying to prophesy in the name of the Bible, in the name of the God of the Bible. Some of them refer to different names. And these are all, false religions, some sort of false religion, some sort of false type of worship. And, if you understand the formula of how to navigate through them, then you'll be able to track them down, track them back to day one, realize the origins of that false religion, and then you'll be able to move on from it onto the next one. Ultimately, if you work through the process, you can go around the world, you can find any religion you want, you can trace it back to the beginning, and find out that it's not the true religion of the Most High. What we teach you through the scriptures, the name Yahweh, the Most High's name is Yahweh, his son's name is Yahweh Shai, the true understanding of the scriptures, what they're trying to bring out to you, that is the true Most High. So, you can use the formula to go around the world through all these religions, realize that they're false, they're fake, and ultimately come back to this truth. And you come back to this truth, you're not going to find the beginning. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to, because when we give you the understanding of these scriptures, we're giving them to you in the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Yahweh, the name of the Most High being a title, God being a title. Another title is the Ancient of Days. So you can't then pull out evidence to show what happened before Yahweh was here. You can't do that. So when we give you the true understanding of these scriptures, the worship of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, you're not going to be able to dissect it and find the beginning and show how, what it was born out of, and show that it was a man-made construct. Now this comes through, I've explained before, I had a particular vision. First thing you need to understand is how to break down these religions. And most religions have a prophetical figure. Start off with Amos. This is basic scripture. Everybody should know. So you're going to try and navigate your way through these religions, and you're going to try and find out, which one is telling you the truth. We're here, the Hebrew Israelites, we're telling you we have the truth. But so does Christianity. They tell you that they have the truth. Jesus loves everybody. And Islam, they tell you that they have the truth. I'm mentioning those particular religions because they're obviously the major ones. You have many other religions around the world. But it says here in Amos 3:7, surely the Lord Yahweh, when you see all capitals, either the word God or Lord in the Bible, you know that's referring directly to the name, not a title of the Most High. And the name there would be Yahweh. So surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto the servants, the prophets. And when you jump up to verse 6, it says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city? Trumpets get blown to warn the city of various events. One of those events could be war. It says, and the people not be afraid. Shall there be evil in a city, and Yahweh have not done it? So, every type of evil that goes down in the city that you live in, including the destruction that's going to take place in the end times. Mainly America will be destroyed from coast to coast, but other places around the world will have destruction taking place when the world shakes. There are many demonic, Masonic, or other religious buildings around the world, with symbolry on them, so they need to be brought down. And so, shall there be evil in a city, and Yahweh have not done it? Who else was responsible? To Most High. You wouldn't be a Most High if something could go on without your say so. And so, what you have to understand, as much as the Most High can, produce love for you, he can also produce a bad time, evil times. But it says there, surely Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh, will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. So it's the prophets. When you want the warning of the bad times that are due to come, it's the prophet, the man of the Most High, that people go to get understanding. It says, the lion hath roared, who will not fear? It says, the Lord Yahweh hath spoken, who can but prophesy? So, there are evil times, taking place all over the world every single day. We're warning you of the destruction, the day of the Lord coming up very soon. All the things that are going to happen, these are future events. These are secrets of the Most High, of what he's going to do, how he's going to have everything play out. And it says here, surely Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto the servants, the prophet. So it's the prophet who has the secret. And then it says, the lion hath roared, who will not fear? Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh hath spoken, who can but prophesy? So when the secrets are revealed unto the servants, the prophets of the prophets of the Most High, they're the men you go to get the understanding of the Most High. What evil times are about to bestow us. The prophets will tell you, they have the secrets. And it says here, who can but prophesy? That's a question. And there's a reason for that particular question, because when you go to a prophet does many things. He teaches, to warn you of the Most High and what he's about and what he's about to do. First thing we need to do is teach you the name. So we're going to show you the name. When I show you the name, I'm teaching you the name. You could call a prophet a teacher, a preacher, or many various other titles. But the one way in which you can define a true prophet is by the act of prophecy, speaking things before they happen in the name of a power. And so now you have, so here comes the formula, you see. So you now have many prophets, so-called prophets, religious leaders around the world claiming to be speaking in the name of various gods, many different gods. And we speak in, the Hebrew Israelites, the true Hebrew Israelites. If somebody tells you that I'm a Hebrew Israelite, then only a true Hebrew Israelite would be calling on the name Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Nothing else, nothing added, nothing wedged in there, nothing changed, just Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. So, you've got these many so-called prophets around the world, but which one can prophesy? Which one can tell you future events and then you see them come to pass, take place? That's the one who has the secrets revealed to him unto the Most High. Now, I read that to you through the Bible, and many various other religions would say, well, we don't believe in the Bible. We believe in this, we believe in that, and so on and so forth. But you can't argue with the description of a prophet. A prophet literally translates to speak before. And so you have to speak events before they happen. Yeah, you come in the name of a power. You've got building, you've got followers. You acting as this particular godly man. Whatever you're preaching, you're now teaching to the people. So you look like a teacher, you look like a preacher. You've prophesied events that are due to take place, but do they actually take place? This is the key element. This is how you know whether that spiritual power up in the sky, in the spirit world, is actually working with you or not. Now, when you look, before I go into that, see, my particular thing, why I'm teaching this word, why I make these videos, why I speak in the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, is because I had a particular vision. And that's usually how a prophet will speak in the name of a divination, if you like. Let me just go back to this particular article. So this is dated the 21st of May 2021, and this is Prophecy Through the Ages, Society, Power and Legend. Now what this article does a great description of walking you through the ages and the various types of prophets that were around, and how what their teachings were based around, and what type of names they were coming in. Now, before I get into that article, it says here, prophecy is an emanation or a manifestation sent forth by the divine being through the medium of the active intellect. So the man, who is an active intellect, an intelligent man, prophecy is a manifestation, emanation sent forth by the divine being through the medium of an active intellect. It says that in the first instance to man's rational faculty, and then to his imaginative faculty. And that statement was made by, here says here, Maimonides, a medieval philosopher, Maimonides, or something like that. So I believe that's a man. This particular man, if I'm right, has made this particular statement, and he's made a good description of what a prophecy is. Prophecy is an emanation sent forth by the divine being through the medium of active intellect. So the Most High or divine being will work with this active intellect and using him as a medium, send forth messages through this particular person. You notice it says an active intellect, so it's not someone who's dim in the mind, someone who's a bit slow and lazy, someone who's actually physically active in the mind and intelligent with it, who's trying to work on his feet, so on and so forth. It says in the first instance to man's rational faculty, because that's what we have to do. We take the word of the Most High, these secrets, these deep mysteries, and then we explain them to normal men, for them to rationalize the understandings that we give you through the scriptures, through the divine being, through the manifestation of, we speak prophecies that are due to take place in the future from now, but we also speak of ancient prophecies which were spoken of in ancient times and which are actually happening to us today, like the curses. So, we show you them in real life. And then it then says, and then to his imaginative faculty, because that's when we go on to tell you future events. Understand this, understand that, link it together, understand the destruction that is going to take place very soon. So that's your basic description of a prophet, of prophecy. And we can back that up in, to a certain degree, in Deuteronomy chapter 18. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole chapter. I've been through it a few times before. But I will start here at Deuteronomy 18 and 18. It says, and I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren. So this is the Most High. The Most High is the one that raises up prophets, and no one else can. You can't decide to be a prophet. You can't elect someone to be a prophet for you. You just have to go with the one that the Most High chooses. It says, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. So this prophet, according to the scriptures, according to that statement made by that medieval philosopher, we're getting an understanding of what a prophet is. It says here, and that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, this is the Most High speaking, which he will speak in my name. So the Most High, through the scriptures, is clearly telling you that when I will raise up a prophet from amongst your brethren, and he will speak the words that I put in his mouth, and he will speak them in my name. So when a prophet comes to you and says, I come in the name of Christ, Christ is not a name, it's a title. I come into you in the name of the Ancient of Days, in the Most High, in the name of God. These are titles. If you're a prophet, you're supposed to know the name. You're supposed to be able to come in the name. And it says, whosoever will not hearken unto my words, whoever will not listen to my words, which he, the prophet, shall speak in my name. So you have to speak within a name. You can't say, I speak this in the name of God. That's not a name. It's a title. What's the name? I'll give you, men of the true men of the Most High. They'll give you the true name, Yahweh, and his son's name Yahweh Shai. It says, I will require it of him. It says, but the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. It says, and if thou shalt say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath spoken? So we're back to that formula. You don't need thousands of notes in your pocket, a big notebook, so on and so forth. You just need to know the formula. So you arrive at a scenario. Are you being lied to? You need to know the formula to work out whether you're being lied to or not, and to decipher whether these people are genuine or not. Well, here's one of the questions you should ask yourself. And if you say in your heart or in your mind, how shall we know the word which Yahweh have not spoken? How do I know? There's so many people out here today. You go on YouTube, you type in prophet of God. You don't know God's name because you're not a prophet, but you want to find the prophet who can tell you God's name and speak his words in his name. But you don't know the name, so you're not going to be able to search the name. So you're going to have to go on YouTube, for example, or go online and type in prophet of God. What are you going to find? You're going to find billions, ancient ones that are supposedly alive today, so on and so forth. So how do you know? Give me one distinctive factor, one question that I can just ask myself instantly, quickly, to work out if this guy is BSing me or not. It goes on to give you that. It says, when a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh have not spoken, but the prophet have spoken it presumptuously. thou shalt not be afraid of him. So when someone comes to you, there are prophets out here that actually come in the true name of the Most High. For example, what's they called? WFI, Watchmen for Israel. So they come in the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, but they don't teach you the correct prophecy of the MOTB. They teach you an incorrect prophecy of the MOTB. There's no evidence of that incorrect prophecy of the MOTB coming to pass. There's no evidence of it. Yet when we teach you correctly in the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai that the MOTB is the digitization of the economic system and the implementation of that device under your skin, you can see evidence of that coming to pass around you. Go and type it on Google, look it up. CBDC, central bank digital currency, something that they're putting together, or they've put together recently for the future. So you have prophets that will come at you in the name of the Most High, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. So now you're thinking, damn, this man could be a true prophet. All right, does he know the scriptures? Yeah, well, he's rapping them off. He's rapping off scriptures thick and fast. Has he just memorized them? Has he just regurgitating what he's learnt of someone else? Or does he actually really understand what he's reading? It says, when a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh have not spoken. So when you say the MOTB is spirituality, that's not going to come to pass. There's no evidence of that coming to pass. Or whatever else people say it is, there's no evidence of it. They try to point at things and say, well, that's that and that's that. But the evidence they're pointing at is actually evidence belonging to other things. So they're telling you the MOTB breakdown is wrong. They're saying, oh, look at this and look at that. But those things they're pointing at belong to other prophecies. And that's what they don't get. Or, they don't go into the ancient Greek or the ancient Paleo-Hebrew to get the true understanding of the word. And so, for that, they're forever lost. So they can't tell you of things that are due to come to pass. They can repeat scriptures that their teacher taught them, can regurgitate scriptures. They can look into history and repeat events that have happened. Even Edomites do that. But the defining factor is the future. And what does Amos chapter 3 say? It says, who can but prophesy? So the Lord Yahweh revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. But there's many prophets out here, billions. If I had to list them all on a piece of paper, the piece of paper will go from here to the moon, of people claiming to be prophets of God. And the defining question is, who can but prophesy? It says here, if the prophet speaking in the name of the Most High and it doesn't come to pass, the name of Yahweh and it doesn't come to pass, and the prophet have spoken presumptuously. So when we're telling you the MOTB is a digitization of the monetary system, and you can see it happening right before your eyes. You go on Google, type it in, you can find hundreds and thousands of articles and information. They're talking about it in the news all day, every day. You've got these financial experts all around the world talking about how we're heading there, thick and fast, and there's no stopping it. We're practically there. It's just a matter of actually putting it in front of you and saying that you have to use it. So we're not speaking these things presumptuously, and so that thou shalt be afraid of the message we give you. So there you go, the formula. You say, oh, how can I see things? I want to know. I want to know when they come to pass. I want to know. Well, the things are happening all the time. You just have to stay awake. I've mentioned it before. January last year, January 2023, I told you within 3 years, you're likely to see World War III. Scriptures tell you that World War III will be activated by the small hats. It took them 10 months from that point I spoke it for them to actually go into action. That's the Most High making it happen. He put his words into the mouth of the prophet. The prophet did not speak presumptuously. And you heard it. If you heard it, you're fortunate enough to hear it. You did, you didn't. And 10 months, we know 10 means completion. Within 10 months, you saw the activation of the release of the flock, drawing out other nations into the Third World War. Now, I did say at the time, this activation in drawing out other nations is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a slow process, a long, slow process. So we're still going through it. But you can see that the words that I'm giving you are not presumptuous. They're perfectly perfectly timed spiritually 10 months before it happened. I gave it to you. So that is a warning from the Most High Yahweh. It says it, so the prophet did not speak presumptuously, and thou should be afraid of the warning. World War III is on your doorstep. All it takes is that MOTB to be rolled out, and the Most High is going to allow that World War III to flourish and grow and become this all-out global war. Obviously, with the Battle of Armageddon in the Middle East, and eventually America being destroyed by nuclear ICBMs. So, the formula, you don't need 1,000 notes to work out. You just need the formula. This is Romans chapter 16. I'm just going to breeze through what I need to know. I'm going to read it in the NLT because it's a little bit easier to understand. Romans 16:25, Apostle Paul says, "Now all glory to the Most High, who's able to make you strong, just as my good news says." And the good news is the message of this gospel. It says, this message about Yahushua HaMashiach. So we know there was no J. 2,000 years ago, the true name of Jesus, the one they call Jesus, is Yahushua, and the word Christ just means anointed. So it says, this message about Yahushua the anointed has revealed his plan for you, the Gentiles referring to Israelite foreigners, Israelites that are, we were all Gentiles before we came back to this truth, because we were all living amongst other nations, the other nationalities, and we were living according to their customs and traditions. You had no idea you was a Hebrew Israelite. Now you've been brought back to this truth, so you're a Gentile coming back in. And it says here, this message about Yahushua the anointed has revealed his plan for you, the Gentiles, a plan kept secret from the beginning of time. But now, as the prophets foretold, and as the eternal Most High has commanded, this message is made known to all Gentiles everywhere, so that they might too believe and obey him. So that's what Apostle Paul was on a mission in those times, and we're doing the same thing today, via the internet, so on and so forth. It says, and all glory to the only wise Most High through Yahushua the anointed forever, amen. So we're in that time where these prophecies in this book have been written down thousands of years ago. We're now in the time where they're starting to, the major ones, obviously, some major ones have already happened, the diaspora, so on and so forth. But major ones according to the end time prophecy. And, these ones that are actually actively happening around us. That is the manifestation of the plan, which is kept secret from the beginning. Don't forget, we just read that Romans 16 in the NLT. The plan kept secret from the beginning. And that the secrets of that plan will be revealed to the prophets. The prophets will tell you what is due to come to pass, and if they come to pass, thou shalt be afraid of the message. Okay, it's very simple. The formula is very simple. So now you could take that to most religions around the world and work it out and understand it. Now, the reason why I understand this is because of the Holy Spirit working on my mind. So you say to me, well, are you a prophet? Well, I'm not really out here to make claims about myself. I'll just tell you what I know, and you make the decision. Someone could tell you that, they're the best player on the pitch. You might look at that person and you might watch him and say, well, he's average. So what does it matter that person thinks he's the best player on the pitch? He's now average. The point of the matter is for you to make up your mind. All these prophets around the world, all these so-called men of God, but you have to make the decision. Don't ask them to persuade you and drag you in. That's what Jake does. That's why he goes around from religion to religion, buying new religions like their new cars. And and on that point, right? Apostle Tahar always says, like an Edomite will take a mechanic to go and buy a car. Jake will just go and buy it based off the speakers and the rims. I know Jakes that fucking phone you to take you to go and buy the car, and you tell them don't go buy the car, and they still fucking buy the car. That's the mentality of Jake. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. You can't fight the curses. And Jake takes you to go and look at the car for sale. You say, I don't think so. And what does Jake do? He buys the car. You can't override these curses with your advice. But anyway, the point I was making is that you should have the ability yourself to know whether this religion is false or not. You know, not just the religion, not just the worship of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, but other religions. There are so many prophets out here claiming to be prophets. Don't ask them to work it out for you. You have to be able to work it out for yourself using a particular formula. Now, the thing about the prophet, what distinguishes, what puts the prophet on that level compared to the ordinary person? When you believe in the Most High, you believe in Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Or there's other people that believe in these other names, people that believe in Allah, people believe in Jesus, so on and so forth. And what it comes down to faith. It says here, Hebrews 11, Apostle Paul again, Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. It says, for by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the words were framed by the words of the Most High, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So everything around you are things that you can see, and they were made by something that you can't see. A lot of people have that understanding in them. They don't know which religion to follow. Maybe they're in a religion, but they think, I don't think this is the right one. But they want a religion. They want a type of worship. They understand something is out there to worship. Some people look at this worldwide ecosystem and they say this is too perfect for it to be created, just by coincidence. As they tell you evolution, these Edomites try and teach you evolution of the human. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the Most High making the perfect place and establishing it, and creating people who can function within this society with everything they need, and put them on this planet. So everything that we see around us does a job, and it helps us. The air, the trees, the plants, the water, everything else. The moon gives us timings, and the sun gives us daylight, so we can go out and do our stuff in the day. It gives us vitamin D, so on and so forth. So these things aren't a coincidence. It's a perfect manifestation of a designed plan. But it says here, faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So there's a lot of people that can see what I just said around the world, that there must be a higher power. They have faith, but they're hoping on things that they can't see. They get lied to by religious leaders. These religious leaders, they use various tactics to rope them in. And so now these people are hoping on things which are the wrong things to hope on. The true thing to hope on is Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, the evidence of things not seen. That's faith. So you're hoping one day to see evidence of something you're currently hoping on. I hope that when Jacob's trouble comes, it doesn't affect me, and I can't see Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, but I call on them, I pray to those names, and pray that, can you please deliver me from those times? So now I'm hoping on that to deliver me through that situation. But when the Most High sends a prophet, the Most High's faith can't be shaky. It can't be 50-50. Otherwise you wouldn't be a prophet. How can you be a prophet with 75% faith, but then trying to teach a Hebrew Israelite and build him up in the faith, and he walks away with more faith than you? It doesn't make sense. The prophets have an abundance of faith. That's why they're determined to speak on the name that they speak on, the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, and so on and so forth. the prophet, the true prophet, has to have seen something. Faith is the substance of things that you hope for, the evidence of things not seen. So your faith is something that you haven't seen, and you're going to a man of the Lord to encourage you in it, break it down and explain it to you so you can build up your faith and be more encouraged into it and understand it fully. This pattern of events happens in every religion around the world, because ultimately people are looking for the same thing. But the prophet has to have that extra level of faith. So he has to have seen something. And so now when you see something, when you actually see something in front of you, you don't really have to have faith to hope that that thing will happen, even though you do have hope and faith in other areas. Now, for example, I've explained before, when I came to this truth, had the vision. When I came to this truth, I had the vision. I've explained that, and that's how I found out I was a Hebrew Israelite. So in that moment, how did I find out I was a Hebrew Israelite? Because angels arrived. They arrived to my location, and they took over my spirit, and they showed things to me, through my third eye, showed me historical events, and showed me future events. Now, I've gone through the vision before, and I can explain it and break it down, different parts to it. Just like you read a prophet in the Bible, he's gonna break down 3 or 4 different chapters. He might go into 3 or 4 different aspects. Might go into the captivity of the children of Israel. Might go into the destruction. He might go into something to do with the rulership, the current regime and rulership, and how they're destroying the people, or so on and so forth. So it's the same thing when I had the vision. There's various different elements, and I could talk about this part, or I could talk about that part, or I could talk about a different part. But the part that links with what I'm talking about today is the evolution of false religion. And so, like, some of you have probably heard it before. Some of you, I don't know if you have or you haven't. I'm sitting, I'm watching TV, I'm eating food, and then the Holy Spirit arrives. And what it does, it envelopes you. So now you're in a bubble, if you like, of like a spiritual bubble. And then, like I say, I saw these particular events. I saw the sword come down on America. Now, America is still there today. It's still about. You can catch a plane and go to America. You can walk around America. You can buy things. You can do what you want, so on and so forth. But in the vision that I saw the sword come down on America to kill it. So in the vision, the Most High showed me America gets killed, if you like, with the sword. But America's still alive. So what I saw was a future event. And to me, I'm telling you of past. This happened to me 6 years ago. I saw America ended. I can't tell you, the only way I can phrase it to you is I saw it in the past tense. I saw America done. I saw it ended. So America to still be there today, what do you think I'm doing? I'm watching it and I'm going, well, you're gonna be gone very soon. You're gonna be gone. Like I say, I have faith. How Shai can deliver me through certain aspects, certain scenarios. But when it comes to knowing that America will not be no more, my faith was maximized. I saw it. I've seen it. It's already happened to me. In my spirit, within me, within the contents of me, the ending of America has already happened. It's already been said. It's done. It showed it to me. Now, before that, I was shown 3,000 years, roughly 3,000 years from ancient Mizraim, ancient Egypt, all the way up until today. And the first thing that happened, like I say, the Spirit came, it overwhelmed me. So I was eating food, and first thing I did, I just put the plate down, because all of a sudden you're not thinking about your food when when the Spirit comes and overtakes you. Now, at that point, I'd never read the scriptures, never gone into the Bible, never looked for any type of religious comfort. I was quite happy just living my life, making money, doing the basics. So then a vision appears, and what I saw instantly, the first part of the vision was the planet Earth, like the way you're seeing it now. And again, I've explained it before. It was upside down, and it was in this way, the way that you're seeing it on the screen. So I don't know the reason for that. I still haven't worked out the reason for that. You know, I don't know. You know, in English we write left to right. In Paleo Hebrew, you write right to left. I don't know if that's something got to do with it, but for whatever reason, Yahweh Bashim Hawashai showed me that. I saw it, seen it, and it was upside down. Now on the left hand side, what happened initially, then when first of all the earth appeared like this, boom, and then on the left, bang, the pyramid appeared, ancient pyramids. Out of the pyramids then started to grow the roots, and the roots started to grow, and what they did, so you can imagine, like, just say in that little area there, in the center there now, where the center of the screen is, let's just say a pyramid appeared, and then from there roots started to grow, and they grew all over the continents, into Africa, into Europe, into Africa, and then they stopped for a second. And when the roots were growing, it started off with one root. So for example, you see on this root here on the left hand side, this particular root comes out with one branch, but then off that branch comes different roots, and then from the root that comes off, you can see here, for example, the roots come off, and then they produce this called a secondary lateral root, and then off the secondary lateral root you have more roots. And so what happened, these roots kept growing and growing, and it all happened very fast, and it took over the whole planet. And then it got to the water in Africa, for example, where you see Africa upside down now. It pretty much got to, you know, the circular part, if you like, this part of Africa here, this round part. It stopped for a second, and then one root, one of the arms of the root, a big one, it jumped over the sea from Africa over to South America. When it arrived there, I understood false idol worship, and then I looked back at Africa, and then another one came, a second one bounced over from Africa over the sea into America, and then the sword came through America, chopped America, so that was the end of America. Now every time the root grew into another leg, into another branch, into another section, secondary lateral root, you know, then you got, what's it say here, tertiary lateral root. See, more roots keep coming off and off and off. And in the vision, you got imagine this happens so fast, it's within seconds. But every time the root split into another root, it was another false tradition, it was another false religion, it was another false worship. And I saw them all: Muslim, Christianity, the Jesuits, Judaism, the Buddhas, Hinduism, Sikhism, all these religions, they all appeared. So in the beginning, when it came out of Egypt, it was like one root, and then every time it split into something, a new religion was created, a new type of false religion. And so this is why the lesson is about evolution of religion, not necessarily evolution of false idol worship, because that goes into worshipping, you know, music idols, sports idols, or witchcraft or sorcery. But particularly these major religions, these religions that tell you they're going to get in touch with God, you know, all of them, I saw them all. Like I say, even these Jesuits, it's quite important to remember. So from that's like what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai did to me. He gave me a framework. And he said, look at that. And so now I know. I don't care if I've never heard of your religion. I know there's a beginning to it. I know there was a day before your religion existed. So I want to ask you about the day before your religion existed. And if there was something happening the day before your religion existed, that means your religion is BS. Because it's not the true religion. It doesn't go back, all the way back to the beginning. So I know that. I don't have to have heard your religion, but I'm fully confident that your religion has a point at which we can trace it to because of what I was shown. I was told that the scriptures are for me. I was told the Bible's for you. I don't mean like for me particularly. I was told that the Bible's for you. So then I knew, okay, what I'm shown, the answers, the information, is all contained within the Bible. So if I go to the Bible and then get the understanding there, I'll be able to pick off through the framework that I saw developed on the screen. Now, before I move on, I didn't really look it up until today. You've got two types of root systems. On the left here, typical, I can't pronounce this word, eudicotylidon, typical eudicotylidon root system. On the left-hand side, it consists of a taproot and lateral branching roots. Or on the right, you have a typical monocotyledon root system. Mono meaning one. So these are the two types of root systems you get. Now, the root system that I saw grow over the earth was not like the monocotyledon root system. You can see at the bottom here, when you pull a plant out with that type of root system, it's not going to be very difficult because the roots don't go very far, they're not very strong. On a typical eudicotylledon root system on the left, this is a much stronger root system, and it spreads. So when you have like a tree and you see the roots are far away, if you rip the tree up out of the ground, it will rip up the ground around it because the roots are spread far. That is an example of this typical eudicotylledon root system. So I only looked it up today and just to think of the pattern of what I saw, and the pattern I thought I saw was this. So imagine every time the root grew and then the secondary lateral root grew off, that was a new religion, a new custom. And then a tertiary lateral root grew off of that, and that was a new religion, a new system. So I looked it up today, and then I said, well, what's the difference? And it turns out that the difference is to do with the seeds. I mean, if you look at the bottom there, eudicots, and just above it, the monocots. And the monocots produce one seed, and the eudicots produce two seeds. And then you can see here there's some other characteristics of the eudicots and the monocot plants. And an example of an eudicot plant would be an apple tree. And so you go through the scriptures, you realize that the nation of Israel are the apple of the Most High's eye, and you go back to the vision that I saw. These people came out of ancient Egypt in the form of the root system. The root system, I labeled it as a eudicot root system, and then at each junction, there was forming a new religion, a new false worship. And then when you look up the eudicot root system, you could apply that to an apple tree. The characteristic of an eudicot root system is to produce two seeds rather than one upon germination. That then gives it a chance to have one corrupted seed and one righteous seed. And then you fast forward all the way until today. What do we have? We have the nation of Israel corrupted, a corrupted seed, yet there is a remnant. You read of the 144,000 in the book of Revelation, undefiled, and this is a seed uncorrupted. So when I look deeper than I've looked before into the vision that I saw, and there's more information there. I didn't really realize before, didn't think to look up the root system, but I can quite clearly categorized that the root system grew in that particular manner. And like I say, at each junction, he had a new religion. And this is related to the Eudicot root system, known for producing two seeds upon germination, one to be corrupted and one remnant seed, the remnant of the seed to be undefiled remained until the latter days that we're in now. So for me, in that particular bit of information that I just explained to you, I don't need anyone to build up my faith. I can guarantee to you that the Most High, the God of the Bible, is above. That's what happened when the vision came and I saw the earth and the religions come out and they ended up in America. Then the sword went through America. The next thing that was emphasized to me is that the God of the Bible is above all these gods, because that was part of the message, that the God of the Bible is above all these gods. So from before the vision, 20 seconds ago, never read the Bible, not sure if there's a Most High, never followed any religion, not really worried about it either. I've had the vision, the angels have left. What do you think I did? I went on Google, I researched what the angels told me. I said, do you know what? It's all right, I can go and check what you showed me. All these religions, showed me them in various different timelines. Not just religions, empires. I saw the Roman Empire, for example, along there. So I could go and look at these empires and look up the dates. And they fall into line, into time of when they appeared on the roots. So the Most High put them in order. He put them in order. He didn't put them in random orders. He put them in order. And Rome came towards the end, and then it disappeared. And then, like I say, the root got to Africa. It bang over to South America, bang over to America, bang, chop, kill America. So and then I am the God of the Bible, and I am above all these punks, all these other punk religions, all these punk gods, these false idols, and everything else. So with that aspect, I won't go on about the rest of the vision. That's just the first part of the vision. But with that aspect of it, my faith was maximized because I saw something. I don't need to believe or hope that the Most High is above the rest of the gods. He showed me he is. So I've seen it. I went on Google, I researched, and everything that the angels showed me was right. So this adds back to that formula. It's the confidence to know that I can find the beginning of your religion. I've seen it. I've seen 3,000, 4,000 years. So you can't really tell me that I'm wrong. And then when I find the information, and then it's going to hurt you. Now, it's not just me that does this. It's not like I'm talking about myself. I'm talking from my point of view. But there are other people that do this. When the angels came, they showed me this stuff. They said the Bible is for you. And then I realized I have to find someone to teach me the Bible, teach me the scriptures. And that's where the men of GMS come in. When I first had the vision, I saw what I saw, and then I tried to tell my wife. My wife ain't listening, she ain't hearing it. And then I said, look at these guys, GMS. Look what they're saying. Look how they're breaking the Bible down. Then she tried to tell me, look, you're just following these random guys. And it's like, no, I'm not following these guys. I saw something, and I then had a question within myself. Can anybody in the world explain what I saw and explain it perfectly? And the only people that can are the men of GMS. Now, I don't get paid to say this. I never met them. No one's ever offered me nothing to say, can you just promote us? I don't even know how you can get in touch with them, apart from just to go do what what you would do is go on the comment board and send a message. But I watched a lot of camps. The first camp I came across after having the vision, the first camp I came across was IUIC. And you imagine all that information that the Most High showed me. He left me without no doubt that he exists and he is above all these gods. He left me within no doubt that the scriptures are for me to understand. I then knew I had to get a teacher. I came across IUIC and it took all of a minute to look at them and say, these people ain't the people. So that shows me how the Most High is dealing with them. Because if he showed me all that stuff in the vision then he wanted me to get the right teacher to grow from there. He would have just left me sit at IUIC and said, well, this is it. But it ain't it. This is not it. So he moved me on. And within, like I say, I've imagine all that stuff I was shown. It blew my world, it blew my brain. And I'm walking around every day thinking someone out there must be able to like relate to this. And then I found a Hebrew Israelite. Then I found IUIC. And I said, nah, you ain't doing it right. And I didn't know why. I didn't know how to break down the scriptures, but I just knew that something was wrong. And eventually I came across GMS, and in particular Apostle Tahar. And then I think on the second or third video I heard Apostle Tahar, and the penny dropped. And that's when I yeah, this is, because what it is, you see, I'm looking for somebody who can describe what I saw in that darkness, that, you know, when the angel came and put me in a trance, it enveloped you. You then start seeing events through your third eye. I saw things happening. I saw the death of America through my third eye. And I saw all these kingdoms and everything else. So somebody must be able to describe what I saw. And the men of GMS can. They break down the scriptures. They break it down perfectly. They point you to the right ones. And it all works perfectly. But Apostle Tahar can describe it. It's almost like he's seen it. Because he has the way of, a certain way of characterizing it and describing it, and it's perfect. Nobody else can do that. And I'm not trying to diss anybody else. You know, I listen to many people from GMS, and they all do good videos. They all break down the scriptures much better than I could, and I learn from them. But something about the way Apostle Tahar describes scenarios within the spirit world told me that he can see what I can see, because he's describing it to a T. And so that's why I'll follow GMS. Now with GMS, you know, they have the information. They've been doing this for a long time, way before I even knew this. So when I come to the men of GMS, they already have the information on tap. You see, I saw the vision. I saw all your religions. I saw 4,000 years. I know the beginning of your religion. I know there's information out there to find it and track it back and show you that your religion isn't the real thing. This is all in the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. I don't have every bit of information to hand, but you just need the formula to be able to work it out. The men of GMS will teach you that through the understanding of the scriptures, and they'll present certain bits of information to you. And one of those bits of information is from this particular article here. Remember, I feel super confident, because I've seen every religion, the beginning of every religion for the last 3,000 years. So now all I have to do really is get the information that was shown to me by Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai and present it to you. And the men of GMS can help you do that. Only the men of GMS. No, all these other camps, you know, they have information here and there. They have little bits and pieces, but I want the information, you know, in reels. I want all of it. So, you know, ultimately you have to go to GMS, and they're going to break it down. Now, one of the things that I've seen the elders of GMS brought out a few years back is this particular article here, The Prophet. This is a book, a comic book. It says here, recommended reading for adults and teens. So when I say comic book, it's not for children. And this particular one is The Prophet, Alberto Part 6. Just to go back to the last page, just give you a brief description. Hang on. You know, I've been trying to get my hands on this article for a long time. And if you look at the top of the screen, you see the archive.org. So that's what I showed you a couple of videos ago. And when I looked for this article before, it was always charging me like £50. You know, £50 for this, £50 for that. And then somebody told me, look, you just type in the archive.org and you get it for free. So I will leave the link for this in the description box. And this is a bad boy article, because this breaks down the origin of Islam, the Muslim religion. I'm trying to find at the bottom. Alberto series. Full color comics include the testimonials of ex-priests Alberto Riviera, Jesuit, and Charles Chinky. So, like I say, you can work through the evolution of false religion throughout the world, throughout the 4,000 years. And take it from me, it's possible to find it and find the beginning of it. Take it from me that Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai is way above all these false and pathetic religions. So, our job, not just to show you the future, is to break down the history and show you that how these religions are just man-made. They're not made by the Most High. The worship of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai comes through the scriptures. That is the word of the Most High. So that's a divinely created rule book, if you like. But when you go to the Quran or all these other books, they're not divinely created. They're created by men. So what we do is we pull out the information around society on Google, blah, 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 and we take you back to the origins. So this is Alberto, ex-priest Alberto Riviera, who put together this particular comic. And he's a Jesuit. Remember when I saw the vision, the Jesuits were there. They were fully involved. You have Jesuits, they appeared, and you had the Roman Empire, you had all these other religions, then Islam appeared. And what it is, we already know. At the time of iconoclasm, Esau came out, what we're talking about 500 years ago. He came out, took over the world, raped and pillaged the whole world, raped the continents, created false religions, sent them forth around the world. Now you live in the most confusing society that's ever been known to the history of man. And the only way you can decipher and find a clear pathway through it is by going back to the men of the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. So, like I say, the elders of GMS brought this out. I've been trying to get my hands on this for ages. I finally got it for free. This is Bad Boy. This shows you the beginning of Islam. You've got these angry people over there in the Middle East. They're so angry that they'll do suicide bombings and all sorts. They'll come to your town and do a suicide bombing just to prove the name of Allah or whatever. Now, Allah just means power, which is what God means. God just means power. But is a prophet not supposed to have the name, according to Deuteronomy 18, the name of the Most High? So how come these guys ain't got a name? But when you go through this crushes their whole religious belief and what it's about. Before I go into that, there's another article here. This article's quite long, so I might even just save it for another day and read it later on today or on another video. But we can go through all these particular religions and take you back to the beginning. Prophecy through the ages, society, power and legend. Right, so reading here, it says, legends and spiritual texts professing the divine powers of prophets have permeated cultures the world over since the dawn of society. It says the most prevalent associations with the idea of prophets originate from the Judeo-Christian tradition, dating back as early as 4000 BC. And that's roughly, the time of ancient Egypt. Now, when they're talking Judeo-Christian, they're pretty much talking about Hebrew Israelites. We were born under the captivity of ancient Egypt, Mizraim, and then we became a nation, still within the captivity of that nation. And you're looking dating back as early as 4000 BC. So when I say 3,000, 4,000 years, this is what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai showed me, from ancient Egypt to America. It says, but divination, prophecy, and oracles are not unique to the Abrahamic religions. Ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece dabbled in these mysterious customs. They existed also among early Buddhists in China and Tibet, the indigenous people of the Americas, European icons, and priests still in the 21st century. A timeless subject of confusion and debate. Prophecy has always had societal and psychological functions. So why is it a debate? Because I just gave you the formula of how to work out a true prophet. He tells you what's going to come to pass. It comes to pass. What's there to argue about? All these people follow all these religions with these so-called prophets, and they don't have prophecy. They're not coming out and claiming prophecies. Nothing's coming to pass. So why are these people really following these religions? It says, whether deeply seated within halls of political power or skirting the margins of society, the historic psychosocial powers of prophets are profound. Prophets have come to denote priesthood, religious or moral leaders claiming mystical discourse, and with the divine and facilitating communication between deities and their people. So am I not claiming the same thing? So you're a prophet? Well, I don't know if I'm a prophet, but I'll tell you what I do know. I know the secret of 3,000 years ago, all the way up into America. That's what the Most High showed me. And the only people that can really back me up with evidence and information are the men at GMS. So from there, you work out what you want to work out. You see what we say, you see it coming to pass. So you got the formula. You decide. It says, but what have these enigmatic characters and their supernatural practices truly look like across the globe and throughout history? So now you're going to see, kind of to a certain degree, what I saw over the course of the 4,000 years. Old Testament and Quran prophets, 4000 BC and onwards. From the beginning, prophets and prophecy have been integral to the Abrahamic religions. Long before Yahushua prophesied his own death, Abraham himself, the father of Judaism, Christianity and Islam alike, was reportedly a prophet. Now, they're getting a bit confused here because they're using these terms, and it's almost like a bit confusing. So, they're going Abrahamic religions, okay. So then they talk about Judaism. Judaism wasn't around then. You had the understanding of, if you like, Hebrew Israelites, Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob. So to be of the worship of Yahweh, or Yahweh Bashim, Yahushua, you had to be of not just Abraham, but Isaac and Jacob. And then that made you what? A Hebrew Israelite. Judaism is more of a, what the Edomites who have converted into that, that's what they would refer to it as. So, and then, when they say Abraham, they're making this, the way they're making it out, Abraham himself, the father of Islam. Well, Islamic people come out of Abraham. They don't come out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But Abraham wasn't there, like, let's put together Islam. The way they're saying it would leave confusion, which I'm trying not to do. So stories of Hebrew oral tradition. Okay, so this is what we're really talking about. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, born in the nation of Hebrew Israelites, born under the captivity of ancient Mizraim. And stories of Hebrew oral tradition debatedly stem from roughly 4000 BC. But the Torah, the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy did not exist in written word until millennia. Judeo-Christian belief is that the author of the Torah was Moses. So now we are talking about small hats. A prophet. Muslims consider Muhammad to be God's ultimate prophet among men. Believers hold many more Old Testament and Quran figures as prophets, and the most vital stories of these faiths typically involve divination. So now here we go, ecstatic and classical prophecy. Scholars group Abrahamic prophets into overlapping categories. Pre-classical and classical, ecstatic and non-ecstatic. The ecstatic prophets were those whom Yahweh, they've put Yahweh, they're never going to give you the real name, whether they know it or not. But it says here that ecstatic prophets are those whom Yahweh spiritually consumed in theoretical display. And is that not what we tell you about Yahweh? It's all about the theatre, and prophets coming out here to speak the foolishness of preaching. It says here the ecstatic prophets were those whom Yahweh spiritually consumed in theoretic, I can't even get the word out, theatrical display. Ecstatic prophets include Israelites such as Samuel, Elijah and Elisha, and such people held important positions in sanctuaries and in monarchies because they would advise the king of certain things that were due to come to pass. It says detailed descriptions of the overwhelming spiritual immersions experienced by those prophets are lost in time. Well, not really, because I'm describing to you the same thing. So, they don't understand the power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, and we're being brought back to the remembrance of who we are. The Holy Spirit is back on us. You don't want the Hebrew Israelites to come around calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, because shit is going to go real bad real quickly for you. And that's where we're at. The days of Joshua, for example, roaming on a rampage over the land of Canaan. As soon as Yahushai comes back, the true men of the Lord out here, 144,000 will be spiritually changed, and they will yet again go on a rampage across the earth with the aid of spiritual power in order to put people into order. So, detailed descriptions of overwhelming spiritual immersions. That's what happens. See, you got people out here trying to stop it. Vocab Malone is trying to go from place to place saying, what are we going to do about these Hebrew Israelites? You can't do nothing, because how are you going to stop me coming to this truth when the Spirit came and just immersed me? Spiritual immersion experienced by these prophets are lost to time. Well, it's not lost to time because it's happening again, and that's why these people are afraid. And they're seeing us wake up. They go, these people are calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. You don't want the Hebrew Israelites to come around calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Shit's gonna go wrong, and real bad stuff is gonna go down for you, you other nations. But artifacts of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Canaan corroborate the presence of their cultic and political behaviors. We exist today, the men of GMS, and they're also breaking down the same thing, really. So there's even more evidence. It's the pre-classical prophets include Samuel, Nathan, and Elijah, and Elisha from the books of Joshua, Judges, Samuel, and Kings, who had shrines and bore large groups of disciples. They made if-then warnings, hoping to guide according to the Most High's will and divine law. Classical prophecies also came later in the books Isaiah through Malachi, during the Neo-Assyrian Empire takeover and after the collapse of Jerusalem, 5th to the 8th century BC. Classical prophetic writings from Israel and Judea contain vivid apocalyptic premonitions. That's what we're here. And what the scriptures tell you, that the spirit of a prophet is subject unto the prophet. So the prophets are back here today in the regeneration through the reincarnation. They're back through their father's bloodline, and they have the same spirit of prophecy on you. And what are we giving you? The men that come in the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai give you that, and we give you vivid apocalyptic premonitions, very clear, very vivid, very detailed. That's why when you have a false prophet like WFI calling on the name Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, breaking down future events incorrectly, thou shalt be not afraid of him. It says the prophets Zechariah and Haggai narrated exile and crisis and call for the reconstruction of their sacred temple. What these distinctions have in common in Abrahamic history is socio-political influence. Yahweh communed with chosen individuals in dreams and visions as their cultures built up power and influence, tried to hold on to it, and succumb to their successors. The seers of these messages acted as divine vessels to common people and kings, establishing laws, endorsing holy wars, maintaining social and political order, bearing omens of exile, persecution, worship of pagan deities like Baal, and disintegration of the Most High's covenant with his people. Is that not the message that we're giving you to a T? That's everything we give you today is exactly what these ancient prophets were giving you. The seers. Yahweh communed with chosen individuals. Are we not telling you that today? Those same chosen individuals are back here. We don't know who they are. You say, oh, so you believe you're a prophet? I don't know. But I know that America's going to be done very soon, so I'll tell you about it. And then we see what happens. You've got another prophet somewhere else telling you that MOTB is spirituality. Well, we'll see if that happens. See what happens. But the seers, you see, the seers, messages acted as divine vessels to common people. Why the seers? Why were they called seers? Because they saw something. So faith is the evidence of things that you cannot see. But the prophet has to tell you of these things that you can't see. So he has the faith. He saw something. Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, maximized his faith by allowing him to see something. So that, for example, myself, when speaking on my own behalf, I saw what ancient Egypt to America. I saw all the religions that are out here today. I saw the beginning of them. So even if I don't have the details to hand, I'm very confident I can find it. And that gives me power over every religious leader in the world, because now no matter what he says, he can't rope me into his BS. I am free of their lies and their BS. So moving on, see what we're doing, this is moving us through the centuries, you see. We started off 4,000 years BC, now we're like 2,300 BC. It says the Neo-Sumerian Empire, 23rd to the 21st century BC. Mesopotamia is the birthplace of human advancement. This is what Edomites teach, right? Stretching as far back as 10,000 BC. Traces of divination practices of this region correlate with the Akkadian Empire and the Neo-Sumerian Empire, or the third dynasty of the third. The Cthian legend and the ancient poem, The Curse of Akkad, tell of the fabled Akkadian ruler Naram Sin, who declared himself a deity. So you see the phrase and in the last video I spoke about Chaldees, and the is the title that they give to the leader. So it says the third dynasty of the third. So in the Chaldees, they would have been called. They would have had Urs. And you look in, I think Apostle Haas brought it out. You look in the modern day hip hop scene. They're always throwing up signs and reverence to pagan worship, ancient deities, so on and so forth. And one of them is I can't remember which hip hop song, but you see the they mention the Urs a lot. But it says here, so we just read previously about classical prophets, so on and so forth, ecstatic prophets of Yahweh, true prophets. But now we go into another level of prophets. This is now talking about the ruler Naram Sin, who declared himself a deity. So now we move into a level where people start to use the idea of a prophet speaking to the Most High to warn the people. But people now want to control people themselves. They don't want to leave it to the prophets. They don't want to leave it to Yahweh. They want to do it themselves. So they create themselves as a god. They create themselves as a deity. And that then fools the people into following them. So now you start getting into the level of, religion is just a man-made construct to control people. Well, to a certain degree, yes. So despite his success as a ruler, the texts recount his God king. See, he's not just a god or a king, he's a god king. That's what he made himself to be. He declared himself as. The texts recount this god king refusing the help of priests and fortune tellers during an invasion that eventually led to his downfall. The literature appears to bend the truth about historic events in order to reinforce the authority of diviners and spiritual leaders. Goes on to say the kingdom of Akkad fell in 2198 BC, and the Gutian people took over until the third dynasty of began in 21,000 BC. Within this dynasty, Gudea Ensi, or Lord of Lagash, emerged as a new god emperor. Gudea placed himself at the center of an organized prophetic religion that some scholars believe is tied to the origins of biblical literature. Because that's what they do. They look at us and they go, wow, these people are calling on this Yahweh, and stuff happens. Fire comes down from the ground. Sometimes the ground opens up and swallows people. Sometimes the walls fall down and they just take over a city without lifting a finger. And so they like that idea. That's what I said. You don't want Hebrew Israelites to come around calling on Yahweh B'Hashim Hawashai, because that shit will go down, and it's gonna go down. This is where we're at. We're calling on the name. But in the meantime, in between time, what do? You know, we followed other traditions, other customs of these other people. We got into their fables rather than our own laws and customs. And so with that, the Most High said, you know what, forget about you, children of Israel. So he took the remembrance of him away from us. We forgot about him. Now we'd spent thousands of years wandering around in these captivities, and we woke up today. Now the Most High's woken us up. You look around, your people are finished. You know why? Because they follow these other religions and customs. And so, you know, you got to appreciate the grace that we've been given to actually come back to our true senses and to be able to see the wood from the trees. The next king of the third was Shalugi. He declared his divinity to reinforce political authority. Lo and behold, it says, as his god-king cult extended through the temples of his empire. It says cultic literature from this time period mirrors descriptions of Hebrew prophets and describes Shalugi's ascent into the afterlife, portraying him as a prototypical Messiah figure. Egyptian prophetic texts, 1991 to 1802 BC, the 12th dynasty or Middle Kingdom of Egypt contained prophetic practices comparable to contemporary biblical writings. The 12th dynasty Egyptian prophetic texts are the tale of the eloquent peasant, the dispute between a man and his bar, the prophecies of Nefertiti, the admonitions of Impua, and the complaints of Sonob. So this is just going back into ancient Egyptian. So similarly to classical Hebrew and Sumerian prophecies, these stories illustrate social and natural catastrophe, foretell redemption and a savior figure, and critique social, religious and political behaviors. So they take the idea of what we're giving you, but they customize it for them to be the leaders, and for them to be the Messiah, them to be the gods, and then to rule you, the people. And particularly from Nefertiti and admonitions, these echoes of invasions, societal collapse and salvation at the hands of some demigod form a distinct pattern. All 5 texts resemble Hebrew tradition in their condemnation of theft, murder and family rivalries. Nefertiti goes further and critiques the government power structure. Egyptian texts are uniquely consistent in repeatedly predicting the reversal of social order. For example, admonitions reads, "See, the poor of the land has become rich. The man of property is a pauper." That's kind of like, you know, what the scriptures tell you about, you know, when Esau goes down and Jacob rises. It says here, Kakepe Sonb witnesses that justice is cast out, evil is in the council hall. So, you know, it's like they almost took, you know, bits from our teachings and just made their own teachings. Nowadays, we actually have the Bible. Our teachings are put into the form of a book. And so now these false people, like Christianity, they just straight hijack the book. Pick and choose what they want to show you out of it and create their own religion out of it, the new designed religion out of it. Motifs on reversal of the natural order loom over other surviving texts also, such as the coffin text and the Book of the Dead. Biblical oracles emulate them only in the predictions of Isaiah and Ezekiel about Egypt itself, an obscured sun and the river drying up, which provides evidence of cultural interaction between the Hebrews and the Egyptians. Later Egyptian prophecies, I mean, you know, I could go into this all day. I'll read a little bit more. Later Egyptian prophecies, 3rd to 2nd centuries BC. There's also much later Egyptian oracle literature of the Greek-Roman period from the 3rd to the 2nd centuries BC. The oracle of the lamb, the oracle of the potter, the dream of Nektanbu, the text of Tebtinis, and the Demotic Chronicle all concern themes, of a creator, demigod, king, and a redeemer. So they've taken that idea from us. You work this back through, for example, even through Christianity. You work your way back to the Roman Catholic religion, then you work your way back to, Caesar Borgia, false idol, the one they call Jesus. The idea of him comes from Serapis Christus. The idea of him comes from Quaz, the god of Esau. So you can go, just like the witchcraft, you go to any part of the world, pick any religion, work it backwards, work to the beginning, and you find that it's bullshit. Unless it's what we do, which is call it on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So the themes of a creator, demigod, king, and a redeemer, one who will overcome chaos with order. And the themes and literary patterns from this later oracle appear distinct, dissimilar from anything in Bible prophecy. Greek oracles, Homer's classical epics of the 8th to 7th century BC mention ancient Greek divination. Unlike Egyptian, Hebrew and Mesopotamian oracles who gained influence as religious scholars under individual religious and political institutions, Greek seers were sovereign purveyors of oral wisdom. They controlled their own autonomous sanctuaries where kings and democratic rulers would come to consult with the supernatural. The renowned Oracle of Delphi famously advised authorities throughout Greece and beyond, notably Lycurgos and Agesipolis of Sparta, Ptolemy of Egypt, Philip II of Macedonia, Tarquin, Augustus, Nero, and Julian of Rome. So we know Nero, for example, is Trump. Nero is back here today as Donald Trump, and chances are in ancient times Donald Trump or Nero was going to the Oracle of Delphi to get advice from these so-called spiritual men, and this is that place there you can see on the screen, the Oracle of Delphi. So this oracle spoke of matters of wars, alliances, plagues, marriages, and laws. For Greeks, prophetic power not only influenced the dominant government, but extended far beyond the seer's own culture. And that's what we tell you now. We're the true seers. We see the future. We tell you what's going to happen. And the things that are going to happen are not just going to affect the Hebrew Israelites. It's going to affect all the other nations, cultures way beyond our own. Other prominent Greek oracles were the Oracle of Didyma, established to inform Alexander the Great's relations with Macedonia and Persia. Greek oracular foreboding during war with Persia is comparable to Egyptian predictions about dynastic fate. Inscriptions in North Africa, Spain, Turkey, Croatia, and Hadrian's Wall in Britain recall the famed clarion oracle of Apollo, who issued wisdom, possibly to Marcus Aurelius, about the Antoine plague during the 160s AD, or as late as 213 AD to Caracalla. So I will stop there because look, medieval Chinese and Tibetan Buddhism, American indigenous divination. Oh, this one's quite interesting actually. It says here, vision and dream interpretation is a central component of Native American spirituality, which is, we know Native Americans are the tribe of Gad, of the 12 tribes, and that sometimes incorporates European beliefs and customs, but transcends the Judeo-Christian concept of prophecy. And I think they mean the Hebrew Israelite when they say that. I think that the religions of indigenous people of the Americas are numerous and diverse, belonging to more than 300 groups. So even Native Americans, our own people, when I saw the vision and the root grew and it got to the water, and then they bounced over to South America, and they bounced over to America. We had people living in America, the tribe of Gad, before the tribe of Judah were taken there as slaves. Plus you've got other tribes, scattered about. You've got the islands and so on and so forth. But the tribe of Gad were already there. And why did Yahweh send a nation of fierce countenance with a strange tongue against them? Because they were worshipping false idols. So Gad were over there worshipping false idols. They were doing their thing, mixed in with the prophetic stuff, spirituality, but then they incorporate European beliefs and customs. Obviously the European belief and customs would have come in when the Edomites arrived, but they also connect it with a whole different things. It says here, for example, native prophecy tends to focus on community and nature rather than individuals, and in some cases has operated to resist missionization and preserve customs. In other cases, Christian concepts of sin, salvation, afterlife, and communal values of non-violence and kindness have had beneficial influences. To many people, Native American prophecies represent resilience to colonial eradication of their culture, beliefs, values, and spiritual ceremonies. So it's like they're doing little bits from the truth, but then they're doing bits from other cultures mixed around, and that's ultimately what's all you're going to get. They're Hebrew Israelites that are following other cultures, but then you have other nations that create their own. These Greeks, these Babylonians. These people don't have their own gods. They can't call on Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai. They're not the nation of Israel. So then they create their own gods. Sometimes they claim to be the god themselves in order to rule the people. But when it comes to like the tribe of Gad here, for example, they've elements of their own tradition is there, but then they just mixed it with other traditions around them. It says here, prophet can apply to spiritual leaders and priests, but visionary and psychic experience pervade. One example of native divination is a Natchez great sun. The sun symbolizes, among other things, spiritual communications. Is that not bullshit or what? So there you go. So you've got the tribe of Gad. You're the tribe of Gad. You're one of our people. We feel bad that Edomites came over there and took over the land and did all that damage to you. But ultimately, the Most High did it because you were going off. Looking at the sun, going, I'm going to get great spiritual connection because I'm dealing with the sun, is not right. And even to this day, there are people living in India that they call, I don't know what their proper name is, but they're like sun worshippers. So they wake up in the morning, the sun rises, and they go and sit on the top of the building, and they'll sit there all day. And they won't eat, and they believe that the sun is feeding them energy and, whatever nonsense. So ultimately, they are our people, but they took on other customs, and it spoilt them. It corrupted their seed. So the sun symbolizes, among other things, spiritual communication. Natchez royalty and priest guardians reserve the ability to speak to the spirit and intermediate celestial will to the people. Then it goes on to European legends. Two of the most recognizable embodiments of mysticism and prophecy are Merlin and Nostradamus. So then they go on to them. Prophecy in the modern era. When we go back to the vision I saw, you had the earth, ancient Egypt, it popped up. I don't know why the earth was upside down. That's what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai showed me. And then the roots grew, and one good seed was left, but one wicked seed was left. And every time a wicked seed was left, there's a new tradition, a new religion, a new custom was created. And so when you go through that particular article, it goes in to show you. Now you can do your own research. I think this article, I'm gonna do a video just for this article. I think just to read this particular article. But this is The Prophet. This is a comic book by Alberto Riviera. And what it does, it goes into describing the origins of Islam. Now this is fire, because you've got these Muslims that are headstrong. this, that, and the other. You show them something like this, and there's nothing they can argue. You can't argue with this. It shows you, why you worship certain things and how it was designed. Where I live around here, this is like Islamabad. Every other person down the street here is a Muslim, and I meet a lot of them, and these people are like, there's a real strong demon that's on them, so they're real headstrong about their religion, even though we know it's false. We know that demons are on their minds that keep them wrapped up in that religion. And what it is with these particular people, they're so aggressive and angry with their way of believing, and it's very hard to get through to them. But if you are able to present an article like this to them, what it does, it deconstructs their whole belief system. You see, we have the secrets of the Most High, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and that allows us to deconstruct your religion, deconstruct your belief system. And once we do that, what have you got left? And that's ultimately why you don't want Hebrew Israelites to come around calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. We will deconstruct your belief system and leave you with nothing. And then we will tell you, come the kingdom of heaven. At this moment in time, nobody's forced to do anything. But come when Yahweh Shai is here and we set up this kingdom of heaven. It's Yahweh Shai's way, or Yahweh's way, or the highway. You call on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, or you hit that spiritual highway, into the spirit world. So, but at the minute, like I say, you go out there, you try and explain it, and stuff like this is excellent. The brainwashing that's gone into them, the brainwashing is very thorough. So it's very difficult now to drag them out of it. That's why ultimately we need a spiritual power. We need Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to come. We need destruction to take place. 144,000 to be given spiritual power, and then to go and round these people up into groups and tell them who they really are, and then eventually force them into the worship of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. But that's one article. I'm going to save that and I'll read that on a separate video. But you can look it up yourself. You go into these. Like I say, you can go into the westernized culture, Christianity, Roman Catholics, Jesus Christ, Caesar Borgia. You work it backwards. Serapis Christus, Quas. You can do the same thing in the Middle East or any other part of the world. Like religion here in the Middle East, for approximately a millennium, the Abrahamic religions have been predominant throughout the Middle East. The Abrahamic tradition itself and the three best known Abrahamic religions originate from the Middle East. See, again, they're twisting it. Judaism is what the small hats created. The true Israelites are Hebrew Israelites. And to be a Hebrew Israelite, not only have you got to be of the seed of Abraham, but you also have to be the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Muslims, Ishmaelite, for example, they come from the seed of Abraham, but not of the seed of Isaac and then Jacob. So you have to understand. But it says here, these religions emerged in the Levant in the 6th century BCE and the 1st century CE respectively, while Islam emerged in Arabia in the 7th century CE. There are a number of minority religions present in the Middle East belonging to the Abrahamic tradition or other religious categories. You see, it's all about evolution. So people have come out through these bloodlines, they've created these different religions, and they evolve. So in the Middle East, there have been various big religions over the time that have been adhered to. It just so happens that today's current one is Islam or Muslim, the Muslim religion. However, doesn't make it the truth by all means. In fact, it makes it the opposite, because it's so evolved down the line that they haven't got a clue what's going on. But on the path of evolution towards the creation of Islam, you had other religions. Okay, there are a number of minority religions present in the Middle East belonging to the Abrahamic tradition or other religious categories, such as the Iranian religions. So the Iranians are Persians. Elam, which is considered Elam in the scriptures, It says these include Baha'i faith, Druzeism, Babism, Yazidism, Mandaism, Sanism, Samaritanism, Ishikism, and Yazdanism, and Zoroastrianism. While contemporary Middle Eastern religions practices are overwhelmingly monotheistic, believing in one God, mono, most of the region's ancient traditions were polytheistic, believing in many gods, including the Shemitic religions, the Egyptian religion, the Greek religion, and various Iranian religions. So, what you have to understand, Shemitic, Noah, when the world was flooded, Noah had 3 sons, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. And so from Shem, you have Abraham, and he's a Shemite. You have Ishmael, the progenitor of the Ishmaelites. That's, they're Shem. Elamites, what they would call Indians or Persians. They are, it says here Iranian, and various Iranian religions. Well, Iranians are Shemites. And obviously the 12 tribes, they'll come out of that side of Noah's 3 sons, Shemites. So, these are various different religions, ancient religions around the Middle East. So, when you go, like I say, I'll go into it another day, but when you go back to Alberto, part 6, the Prophet, this shows you the birth of the Muslim religion, constructed by the Roman Catholic Church, funded, and they used the help of Muhammad to control the people in that particular area. Now, Muhammad was allowed to add his own touch, and what would Muhammad do? He would just pick up on the customs that were around him at that time within the Middle East. Now, like I say, when you go to that article, it goes into more detail. I will definitely go into that another time. But one of the religions we saw on the list was Zoroastrianism, which is broken down here. It says Zoroastrianism, sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong, Zoroastrianism, ancient pre-Islamic religion of Iran that survives there in isolated areas, and more prosperously in India, where the descendants of Zoroastrian, Iranian, Persian immigrants are known as Parsis or Parsis. The Iranian prophet and religious reformer Zarathustra flourished before the 6th century BCE, more widely known outside Iran as Zoroaster. The Greek form of his name is traditionally regarded as the founder of the religion. Zoroastrianism contains both monotheistic and dualistic features, one god or two, multi-demigods. It likely influenced the other major Western religions. Judaism, so now I believe they're referring to the small hats, Christianity, and Islam. This is for a discussion on the context of Zoroastrianism, in which Zoroastrianism rose. See ancient Iranian religion. I'll click on that in a minute. But you see, you had the creation of Islam, by a group of people for a particular reason, and some of the things that they dragged into that, were based around the Roman Catholic Church. Some were based around Muhammad's ideas. End of the day, Muhammad was the one speaking to the people, and he would have picked up on things that he would have seen as wise to do. So, he chose various things out of it, and he would have been influenced by things around him. And it says here that, this Zoroastrianism, it says it flourished before the 6th century BCE, has influenced many Western religions, including, it says here, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The ancient Greeks saw in Zoroastrianism the archetype of the dualistic view of the world and of human destiny. Zarathustra was supposed to have instructed Pythagoras in Babylon and to have inspired the Chaldean doctrines of astrology and magic. So I went into the Chaldeans in the previous video. It is likely that Zoroastrianism influenced the development of Judaism and the birth of Christianity. The Christians followed a small hat tradition, identified, they say, they got the ish word. I mean, it's all mixed in, you obviously, like I say, the origin of this type of philosophy comes from the scriptures, comes from having a ultimate power, a divine power, and using that to control people. Now, ultimately in the kingdom of heaven, everybody will be calling on Yahweh Bahashim Hawashai. You'll have a righteous kingdom that will be set up. But in this time, obviously, you've got people just making it up themselves. So, they take bits and they influence it, they mix it with other things. And like I say, so when it was presented to Muhammad, by the Roman Catholic Church, we're going to put together this thing called Islam. Muhammad would have brought in his own influences. Some of them would have come from Zoroastrianism, and that was created by the prophet Zoroaster in the Greek name. Now, so yet again, another false prophet. Here we are, all these thousands of years later. Apparently, there's only like 125,000 Zoroastrians left in the world. And so, where's his prophecy? Where's it all taking place? There's nothing to be seen. And like I say, the people that were believing in it, whether they were Israelites or whether they were of the other nation, whether they were Ishmaelites or Elamites, their religions have developed and gone on to other things for whatever reason, for whatever political purpose, so on and so forth. So it's easy to work it backwards. And they try to link him, with these the great prophet, for example, Ezekiel and Baruch, but then they throw in Nimrod, Seth, and Baal. So they just try to mix it all in. But going back, so now you get an idea of what Zoroastrianism is. We can go back to the discussion of the context in which it arose. And see ancient Iranian religion. And so here, ancient Iranian religion, diverse beliefs and practices of the culturally and linguistically related group of ancient peoples who inhabited the Iranian plateau and its borderlands, as well as the areas of Central Asia and from the Black Sea to Khaton, modern day Hatton, which is China. So you see a map here, and see the name Carmania or Persia, and so the Iranians are known as Carmanians or the Persians, or also the nation of Elam. And so the Indians, the East Indians, they're also the nation of Elam. But then when you look at the two nations of people, today they call them two nations of people, Iran and India, but really, according to the Bible, they're the same people. They're Carmanians, they're Elamites, they're Persians. And so, but they've developed and evolved into different religions. And so you have one set of people, in the Middle East, one set of this Elamites, worshipping, Middle Eastern gods, if you like. And then you've got the ones in India, they go over to what are called Dharmic religions. It says the northern Iranians, referred to generally as Scythians, Saka, in classical sources, who occupied the steppes, differed significantly from the southern Iranians. In religion and culture, both the northern and southern Iranians had much in common with the ancient Indo-Aryan speaking peoples of India subcontinent. So, Apostle Tahar is brought out before the Scythians. It's probably Israelites. And it shows, because this is the northern Iranians. You see what they're doing, they're calling them Iranians because they find evidence of them within Iran. But, we know Israelites are scattered about all over the place, and they're moving around. And then you have, obviously, these other nations in amongst it. You've got Elamites, your Ishmaelites, and then, the Edomites eventually come in and start mixing and doing their thing. And then it mentions Indo-Aryan, So one argument you won't get from a Christian, he won't argue about how old his religion is, because they know it's, like it's only 500. What, you go back 1,000 years, Roman Catholic. Some of them say, "Oh, I'm Roman Catholic," so they try and take it back a bit further. When you go to the east, when you go to places like India and so on and so forth, you speak to them, and they hit you differently. They said, "Well, my religion's thousands of years old. What are you going to say?" People in India, they follow these dharmic religions. They'll tell you, "Well, our religions come out of the Aryan people, so then they're going back." But you look at the things they do, the types of worship they do, and you realise it's all false worship. But these, like I say, it's like the development, the evolvement of these different religions, these different gods. But the Scythians here, just to look it up real quick, the Scythians, member of nomadic people, originally of Iranian stock, because like I say, that's where they would have found their evidence of them. Known from such early, doesn't mean they're Iranian. Back then it wasn't called Iran, and they weren't there like, "Oh yeah, we're Iranian and we've got an Iranian flag and now we're going to move." They were nomads. It says here, the nomadic people traveling around, spread out. That's what the Most High has done to us. It is known as early as the 9th century BCE, who migrated westward from Central Asia to southern Russia and Ukraine. In the 8th and 7th century BCE, the Scythians founded a rich, powerful empire centered on what is now Crimea. So an Apostle has brought it out many times. The word Rus or Rus is head or chief in the Paleo-Hebrew, so I believe, if I'm correct, and obviously that's where the word Russia comes from. So you have the founders really of Russia, would be Scythians. Go back to Scythians, going back to Israelites. But this just goes back to our people mingled in amongst these other nations, following these different religions. I mentioned dharmic religions. So like I say, you're going to go through the Muslim religion, you trace it back to the beginning, and you find out where it originated from. You look at the ideas of Muhammad, and then he would have picked up things around him, like religions that have been around, like Zoroastrianism. People who, in those areas, whatever nation you are, whether you're Ishmaelite, whether you're Israelite, following the customs of the other nations, whether you're an Elamite, you've moved around, they've picked up different customs, traditions, they developed them, the roots kept growing. And so some went into dharmic religions. So you can look up dharmic, what are the 4 dharmic religions. I'm trying to just skip through this for the sake of time. There are 4 traditions called dharmic religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Most people have heard of Hinduism and Buddhism. They may not, however, have heard of Jainism and Sikhism, which are also religions common to India and the subcontinent. So, like, for example, when you speak to my mum and I say, "Well, what religion are you?" She'll say, "Well, I'm Sikh. I'm a Hindu Sikh." So, and then I say to her, "Why are you a Hindu Sikh? You're now claiming 2 different religions." And she knows what it is. It's because I'm going to say to her, "Well, Sikh people, have only been around for 500 years. What were you doing before that?" So she latches onto that Hindu side, and then she believes in the fact that they take their customs from the Aryan culture, and then they go back how many thousands of years, and that's why you can't tell me nothing. Well, I can tell you something, because where's your prophets and where's your prophecies? What it all comes back down to. And then the sacred bull. So what's common about dharmic religions is that somewhere in there's a worship of the bull. Exodus chapter 32, once again I mention it, the sacred bull. This is Wikipedia. Cattle are prominent in some religions and mythologies, such as numerous peoples throughout the world have at one point honored bulls as sacred. In the Sumerian religion, Marduk is the bull of Utu, so you can read about that in the scriptures. In Hinduism, Shiva's steed is Nandi, the bull. The sacred bull survives in the constellation Taurus. The bull, whether lunar as in Mesopotamia or solar as in India, is a subject of various other cultural and religious incarnations, as well as modern mentions in New Age cultures. So you go back into India, what you got? You got Persians, Carmanians, and then so these are Elamites, and it goes back to the same people that are in Iran. Some went the direction of these Dharmic religions. Some went into these Zoroastrianism, and then the Roman Catholic Church come along, the raping of the continents, and then who turned up? Esau, and found a man, Muhammad, said we need your help in this particular mission. So they created a religion, and then obviously there now you have influences of Zoroastrianism mixed into Islam, and meanwhile on the other side you've got same nationality of people, Elamites, biblically. They're now doing Dharmic religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, any ism that you can find. So, that, like I say, that goes back to, you can go back to Exodus 32, read about Aaron, Moses, and the golden calf. So I'm going to leave it right there for the sake of time. I'm going to try and cut short, but I'm just trying to take you through the evolution. In that one article we worked from, 3,000-4,000 years ago up until now, or even longer slightly. It went back, say, 6,000 years. And then even when you work backwards, you can work the formula backwards. So you start off with a religion like Islam, you find the origin, you find out the influences as well, and then you go back to those influences, you find out where they're from, and you find out it all boils back down to false idol worship, false gods, demigods, polytheistic gods or whatever, there's multiple gods, false gods, gods with, as the Bible describes, of wood and stone. And these gods cannot speak either. So the only living power is Yahweh, Bahashim, Hawashai. That's what I was shown in the vision. And the only people that can really, like I say, can really break down that structure of information that I saw and the link up with it are the men of GMS. So double honors to the men of GMS and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Hawashai. I'll come back, like I say, as soon as I can. If not tonight, then tomorrow with this particular article and read through this one. So all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakak, Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.